laboratory research, they may look at that as a contract for a bid or something that we could get a good deal on, because they have a lot of students they have to train, but they could possibly contract to do this work through.
Hey, we'll just have to make in the bid, we just need to make sure that the bidder has the appropriate licensure to do that from the federal government. So anyone who's got the proper licensure would be eligible to bid.
Okay. That's different. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor use the vote saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. HR 1302-12. Approve affiliation agreement with Muskegon Community College for student nurse placement. Authorized chair to sign agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Cross, seconded by Commissioner Mahoney. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor use vote saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Item number 6. Old business, review of Board of Commissioners 2013 meeting schedule. Is that a motion?
No, it's just,
So it's old.
it's old
This is an
business.
old item. Open for discussion, Commissioner Cross.
Yeah, since the other rules and all that got tabled for further discussion or later on, I would like to bring up again, since to change that start time from 3:30 to 4 p.m. to allow the public a little bit better opportunity to come down here, and that way it can be put on the next full board agenda. I would like to do it through old business, so we can actually get something done instead of waiting another month.
Well, I think since the board rules have been tabled now, that the chairman and the committee would probably consider that change.
Would you need to make a motion to ask the committee to put that in the list?
I believe that this board would, if you made a motion and it was approved by this board, then that would be a recommendation that would definitely go back to the committee.
No,
Commissioner Sable.
this is something that's been brewing now for over a month, and I think it's time that we act on it, because next thing you know, we're going to be 2-3 months into it, and that's 2-3 months of more difficult time for our residents to try to get here to our board meetings. So I want to make a motion that we change our board meetings and committee meetings from 3:30 to 4 o'clock.
And I second it.
Been motioned by Commissioner Sable, seconded by Commissioner Cross. Commissioner Ingram.
Could I get the administrator to tell us the review that has been taken to tell the impacts of this?
Madam Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The review that we looked at was the financial impact of changing the times of these meetings. At this time, the times would be uncertain because for staff, unless the meeting went past 5 o'clock, there would be no additional costs. So it would be kind of a moving target, but it would never be a significant cost, because there is, it's rare that we have staff in the meetings other than sometimes the clerks that would be receiving. Otherwise, most of the staff that are here are not eligible for overtime payment. And so we were not able to identify a financial impact by changing it from 3:30 to 4 o'clock.
Any other discussion? Commissioner.
I just have a question. At this point, we're talking about changing one rule, not the table rule.
No, I'm talking about changing the one rule, the start times of the committee meeting, board meeting, from 3:30 till 4 p.m.
The rest of it has been tabled so
Correct.
that we can move forward on the one rule.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Now, what time will we be looking at in 15 days, or will be looking at March 1st or March 15th, or immediately?
As far as the way this goes, I believe that we need to have the committee bring those changes, recommendation and changes back to the board. And we would have to have that approval by the board. Actually, they have to be brought back to Human Resources first, and then they'd have to be brought to the full board. So the next Human Resource agenda is
Not the way I read it.
March, is it?
Right.
Okay, so we're talking next month.
But the way I read it, I mean, unless I'm wrong, that if it's voted on and approved or disapproved, it will go to the full board, the next full board, and then if it's approved there, then that's what it is. That's the start time.
That's the revised.
That wasn't in there.
We did.
The revision is in there, it's just.
We changed the amendments.
I think.
We tabled the amendments, that's what it tabled, was amendments. His recommendation is for a board rule change. But as we did in the last meeting, we said board rule changes had to go through this process of human resources and through the board. So again, if we approve it now, because we are in human resources, it would still go into with the amendments. And once it goes into with the amendments, as we bring those back, all of them will come back together at the same time. Still would take it to the next meeting and full board meeting to get that approved. Commissioner Scoble.
No, I'm just curious, if, say the meeting started at 5 o'clock, you know, we're not doing that, but if they did, then if say staff has to be here, could they take an hour, and city meeting lasted an hour, so would they take comp time then the next day? Or sometime in the next week or something? Is that how that would work?
They would record it as overtime, as far as I know. I mean, if they chose to use it as comp time, I mean, that's at the discretion of their supervisor, but.
All right, well, here's the reason I ask that. Having sat on the city of Norton Shore City Council for almost 11 years, those meetings started, I can't remember, it was either 7 o'clock or 7:30 at night. The attendance at those meetings was worse than this. You know, I'm fine, but if you really want to make it convenient for people to come, 3:30 to 4 o'clock, in my estimation, isn't going to do anything. If you want to really make it convenient, move the meetings to 7 or 7:30 at night when people don't work, most people. I don't know what a half hour, unless you're talking about people who get out of work at 3:30.
Well, the only thing I was talking about is because it was like taboo to speak of it before, and it was a compromise because over the last 2 years of serving on this board, that has been a big concern of the audience that come, maybe not everybody in this county, but the ones that come, is that the start times are too early.
Well,
And that was a compromise,
Then
so
I've
people.
heard that,
still
but I mean, I don't know
eat dinner.
that 4 o'clock is gonna change, you know, I don't really care. In fact, when I did my planner for the entire year, I put the meetings in at 4 o'clock, because I was pretty sure that was gonna happen. But I don't think that's gonna make it more convenient for anybody, if you're really concerned about it. I mean, you know, at night it would be the most convenient, but my experience shows that nobody shows up to those either.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Well, I don't think that it's going to, 3:30 to 4, I don't think it's going to make a major impact. We went from 7 o'clock at night to 4:30 and 5, and it dropped, the public participation dropped off immensely. But after 7 o'clock, we had a lot of people there all the time. But they meet now at 4:30, and then they meet at 5.
Mr. Rainbow.
I think you need to look at this in a macro scale. There are 170,000 people in this county, and we get, outside of employees out here, we've got 2. I mean, I think that the general public is more interested in having the reporters tell what happens than to take out of their normal daily schedule to be here. Now, there are individuals who feel it's important. And then they all want it to their own specific needs. But I think you're looking at a very small number of people in the difference of a half hour or an hour. And part of the reasoning, why not 7 o'clock or 7:30? All of the local communities do that. So the commissioners here have to then choose whether they're going to be to their constituents or to here. We also deal with folks who are coming in from out of town occasionally, and we're dealing with professional folks prefer to get home by 5 o'clock. Now, whether that's an issue for this board, that's to this board to decide. That's up to them. But we do deal with issues where we need professional folks to come in on a semi-regular basis. And it's a question of where you're going. Thank you.
Commissioner Mahoney.
I'd say changing from 3:30 to 4, whether it's effective or not, isn't the point. I think Mr. Cross's point has been, it shows that we at least are attempting to do some flexible things.
Exactly.
You know, whether or not it's going to make a major difference in who shows up, or who can or may not. I hope it does. We don't get a whole lot of folks here. I hope we get more. But, you know, as far as arguing whether it should be 5 or 2:30 or 1:30, we can try it. The rules can change. Even though we have trouble doing it, they can change.
Jarzynski.
I happen to agree. Terry, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment if I could. I think Rosenstein brings up a good point. If this passes today and passes the full board, could we put this into effect April 1st? I think there's some things out on computers and paperwork we've got out there that show 3:30 that possibly needs to get corrected and give it some time to happen. And I would like to offer that date as a friendly amendment, if you'd accept that.
Yes.
Commissioner Cross. The friendly amendment added and accepted by both of the motion makers. Commissioner Sable.
I made the motion with a lot of what Commissioner Mahoney described, and that, I think we need to do everything we possibly can to try to back these meetings up to accommodate some of our constituents. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind that once 5 o'clock hits, it's going to cost us more money, and I think we have to be fiscally responsible there. I think to have these meetings any later would not make any sense. So that's the reason I'm proposing that we back our meetings up from 3:30 to 4, just to show that we're doing everything we possibly can without getting out of hand.
Commissioner Jarzynski.
Couldn't we vote on this? I'm not making a motion.
Well, I'm gonna offer a friendly solution, and that is, if this doesn't work, then maybe we can go to an idea what I tried to promote some time ago, and we could just get us, on video, and do the video. We can do it either live, so that it doesn't cost, or have it replayed on our local channels. So I think when you talk about open, let's be open about things. Record the board and let's put it on the television so people can see. It doesn't just have to come from the news, because sometimes the news is not always news.
I think we're on YouTube now.
I'm sure we are.
Video now.
Also, Chairman Nash, I just want to, and if this needs to be in a motion, then so be it. It is what it'll be. But I think we need to put a review date on there, an end date for review, and I would propose then that we do that at the end of the year, January 1st of 2014, and review what our change has done.
Well,
I think that's something we can bring up in committee, and
I would suggest you make it November, so you got time to change it before the first meeting, if you're gonna do it.
before their next organizational meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, in November. So April 1st to November 1st, and then at that point we'll review, if it's passed, we'll review then what our changes are.
we'll make a note to put that on the agenda prior to make sure we get that reviewed. So we do have a motion on the table to have the time change from 3:30 to 4 o'clock for the Board of Commissioners schedule. And it was from the amended to have that change, if implemented, to start April 1st. All right? Any questions on the motion?
Did it have the end date put in there also? A review date?
Review date of November.
Well, I didn't see it as a motion, but
It can be added, I would say. Just be added part of the motion.
right, so we're amending the motion. They want the full motion in is to have that motion also add the November date as a review date.
So
November,
effective April 1 with review date
November 1st, human resource for first meeting.
That was April 1, 2015.
Now you're really confusing. All right. Any other questions, discussion? No? All those in favor, use vote to say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Any new business? Or well, any other old business? Anyone? No old business, any new business? All right. Number 8, public comment on a new topic, something new. Seeing none, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We are adjourned.